It seems Diluting Dave has done it again. Hi again, everyone. I hope you're doing really well. So our good friend Diluting Dave has screwed us again. Now, obviously, Tuesday's sell-off of the stock was momentous. We lost another 23% and we're down about 3.5% in the aftermarket. Now, this is on the back of the SEC filing that we discussed yesterday, where the company announced a further 82 million shares being added onto the books, of which 30 million was compensation for David Michery. It's blown us out of the water. It's basically doubled the share count in a time where we've just had a reverse stock split and we're trying to get the stock price back to $1. And yesterday was the first day of the final 10 days that the company had to get the stock back to $1 to meet NASDAQ compliance by September 6th, and they've actually now missed out on doing that. So yeah, from here, whether the stock can get back to $1 seems really highly unlikely. It's going to take some sort of miracle. There doesn't seem to be much sign of the stock buyback being utilized anymore. Last week there was a report that about 3.5 million had been utilized, but given how far the stock has sold off now, it's just doesn't seem to be happening. I feel like they could still use it to really buy back a lot of stocks at the moment, based on the beaten down price, but whether or not they do that remains to be seen. It's kind of funny. It's kind of, the more you look at this situation, the more it looks like David Michery's running something akin to a Ponzi scheme. It's not quite a Ponzi scheme, except for the fact that the money coming into the company is just kind of being pocketed by him in the form of releasing more shares. Now, obviously, the average Joe shareholder has really been burnt out by this stock. If you were to take the current share price of Mullen Automotive and factor in the reverse stock splits, had you been holding the stock before the reverse stock split, the first of the reverse stock splits, and not being dollar cost averaging your position, your share price right now is about 1/10 of a cent. So not 1 cent, but 0.01 cents. That's what that share price was worth. Even if you bought in, I bought in back then too for about 9 cents per share. That's when I first bought in. Now, obviously, I'm kicking myself because last week I managed to get a bit of a swing trade, which actually brought my dollar cost average position to only being down by about 11%. And obviously now I'm down by a lot more. So I had the opportunity to exit at a smaller loss, but I kind of held on, hoping that good things were coming. But I feel like I give David Michery the benefit of the doubt too often, and he's kind of, he's gone and done it again. How poorly timed was that? Obviously we're trying to get back to NASDAQ compliance. We've hurt the shareholder base again. And then we go do our SEC filing in the middle of the final stretch to try and regain NASDAQ compliance, announcing that we're basically doubling the share count for stockholder compensation. That couldn't that have waited? Maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe there's a deadline that they had to file that by, but surely that could have waited until after NASDAQ compliance was regained, or at least September 6th had passed. It's just, I don't know. And the other thing on that too is, I was talking about this yesterday. Are these figures accurate? Have they been adjusted for the reverse stock split? Because they were voted on, the quantities of shares to be issued in compensation were obviously voted upon before the stock split. Surely they have to be adjusted in line with the reverse stock split, because basically you just 9x'd your shareholder compensation by doing this. So it's a really dirty situation. David's done the dirty on us. Dirty Diluting Dave Michery. That's what we're going to call him now. Yeah, it's a real sour taste in my mouth. I don't know where this is all heading. The momentum's definitely going down. I don't think the PR is doing much for the company, even though we've got, we're starting to see production of vehicles roll off the line. But from what I understand, I'm not 100% on this, but I think that they're still waiting for an EPA approval so they can start delivering those trucks. So they can't even start counting the revenue for the trucks yet that they're producing. So, imagine if they don't even get that EPA approval. That would be shocking. So it's a pretty dire situation, I suppose. we had the whole Lawrence Harge situation a few months ago, and the fact that he wouldn't get EPA testing done, but it looks like Mullen Automotive hasn't actually got their full certification for it yet. But I don't know. I'm not 100% of the process of this. They're probably going to get that anyway. But yeah, it's pretty bad. I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are we headed? Are we destined for going over the counter, OTC, and getting delisted from the NASDAQ? Where does this all end? What are you doing? Are you sticking in with the stock? Are you going to buy more? Are you going to go crazy and buy a bit more? Or are you going to, just cut your losses? I'm so glad that I did not put a lot of money in this company, and I kind of regret at the moment that I dollar cost average my position rather than just taking out after that trade last week. But you can't win everything, I suppose. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I feel like the long-term vision of the company is good. Good products in an emerging opening market. It's going to be a huge market, and they're trying to have a bit of a play in everything. And I think that's part of the problem, is that they've stretched their resources over so thinly, and as a result, they've had to raise a lot of equity, and tied to getting into these projects is share-based compensation for David and the board. So as they've raised more money, basically, David Michery has gotten more shares allocated to him. So it's kind of basically he's raising money to fill his own pockets. And, we haven't actually technically delivered very much at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it's pretty rough. Anyway, share your thoughts on today's sell-off and what you think's going on with Mullen in the comments below. I always love to hear from you guys. The good, the bad, the ugly. Till next time, everyone. May the markets trade in your favor. Cheers.